me see if I can help you out and explain a little bit about what weeding lines are. So I've got my words in here, and then I've just got a flower. I just picked something that I could show you. And one way that you can do this to help you weed, well, there's a couple of ways. So I'm just going to select this and duplicate it a couple of times. And we're just going to slide those over. Let me align, center those horizontally. I'm going to bring that in tight. Okay, so one way that we can do this, and it's going to be all one color, so I am going to weld it down here and make it one color. That is one way. Another way is I can get a shape like a square, and like if I have part of it that I want to do, I can put a square around that. Even after I weld it, it will do basically the same thing here. Okay, so if you're going to do the square, you need to enclose all of it, select it all. I'm going to send that to the back just so you can see. Well, I say I am. There we go. And then I'm just going to align everything center horizontally just so it's even. And then I'm going to, attach that. Okay, I have to see if Design Space is going to allow me. It is being weird. Doesn't want to. Oh, I've got it grouped. I don't like this new thing. When it groups, it doesn't let you. If anything is grouped, it's weird. Shouldn't do that. So I'm going to attach. Now it looks quite different, but it's going to end up cutting the same, and then you're just going to peel this square out. That can still be a little bit rough. I really don't need that one there. So what we can do in this case, or in this case, and I'll show you there, is come to your shapes and get a score line. And then we're going to change that score line up here in operation to cut, basic. Okay, so now it's just a solid basic cut line. And we call these weeding lines. And this is going to help you, and you can adjust them and make them different sizes. It's going to help you. I'm going to place it between that H and that I, and I'm just going to Command C, Control C if you're on A. I'm just duplicating them basically, and I'm going to place one right there between those two letters. Now if your letters are really close together, you're going to want to zoom in so that you can make sure that you're not chopping into one of your letters, okay? And those are pretty tight. I would generally redo that. And then I'm probably going to put one here at this C, because we know that when we have letters where it goes to the inside like this, it can be a little difficult when you're weeding, because it wants to pull the letter with it, okay? And I'm taking that right up to that flower line there, just so I don't have to come across with it. And you can do the same here. And what that's going to do is pull this out in sections and allow me to weed it in sections. Okay, and I'm just going to stretch this one too. I'm just going to bring it right up to the edge of my flower or whatever design you're using. Bring it down to that edge. Okay, now that's one way of doing it, and then you can go across here, put one here, put one here. Those will all help. I would probably put one here because of all those little pieces in that flower. And they don't have to be straight. You don't have to worry about them being exactly straight. I don't like that bounding box moving. That's a real pain. They should fix that. Let's see. And I would put one probably right here, right up next to that flower, but shorten it down. And then maybe one on the other side. Want to get it up next to it, but you don't want to cut into your design. Just want to get close. Close as possible. And the more you zoom out, the more accurate you can get that. Just going to pull it in. So there I have those. Another way, and I'm going to attach them, but I'm going to select all of this first. Okay, it's probably not, yes, going to make me detach everything before it lets me attach. So I'm going to detach everything. And then I'm just going to select it all and attach. So now my weeding lines are attached there. The other way you can do that, and I copied those, so I'm just going to paste them. I want to select them all. There we go. When I move them, please, Cricut, there we go. And then I'm just going to bring this one in over here. Okay, and then I'm just going to attach those. So everything is attached, including those weeding lines. Now I'm going to cut these three. I'm going to size them down and make them a little smaller. I'm going to cut these three and cut over to the camera and show you how they weed differently. Here we are over on our overhead. This is the one that I did with the weeding box and the lines. Here's the one where I did just the lines and the words. And here's the one I didn't do anything to. So we're going to start with this, and this will probably weed easy. I'm using StarCraft, but you see that it lifted up one of my little dots there. I'm just going to try to save those, but it's pulling them up, and that's going to happen. You're going to lose some dots. I usually cut extra dots, but you see how it pulled my H up there, and I could have lost that H, and it doesn't want to come out. Some other vinyls you may have more issue with on that. I probably should have used one of those other vinyls. But you can see that it weeded pretty easily. I lost a little bit of my design, but not a lot. And again, when I've got something that small, I usually cut a couple of extra dots. With a face, you're going to have a little bit more smaller pieces like these. I am using StarCraft HD vinyl from Brilliant Vinyl. There's a link down below. So that is one way. And again, it did lift up my H and my C a little bit, and then they pop back down. Some vinyls won't do that. Some will bring it all the way with it. Here's the one with the weeding lines. And to help me weed that, I didn't take my weeding line far enough from where I cut it with my scissors. When you cut it with your scissors, you want to cut right up to that weeding line. So then you can come in here and you can work in sections. So I'm just going to start right there, and it's going to pull that out and allow me to work in that section and bring it around, okay? So that I can wiggle that out of there, right out of that, without pulling that whole center of the design. And then I've got this section here. I usually start from the bottom, and that's what I should do. I just can't see. There we go. Just going to pull that up. Just pull that out of there. And then I'm going to pull this section out. Get that. And then I have my little section here, so I can start from this inside. I think I pulled the wrong area. I did. I'm going to just go in here. Gently lift. I got one dot in my tail, but I could save that. So I could place it back in, and my dot. It's a very thin line. So, but I still have everything. I think I flipped it over. So I've got everything there, and I can save that and piece that back together. But then this is the one that has the entire weeding box. Okay, so I'm going to pull out that extra on the outside, and then I'm just going to start right here in this corner. And I'm going to weed that first flower. I didn't take the insides out of that. I'm not going to make you guys watch me weed that. That's a given. And then I've got this section here, weeds right out. Then I've got this section, just going to jiggle it a little bit. There we go. Pulled that right out. But you can see where I'm working in smaller pieces instead of one larger piece, and it's allowing me a little more wiggle room, and I'm not tugging on the whole design the entire time. Then I'm just going to lift this right out and see how it didn't pull that. If you use those weeding boxes in your design, it's going to save you a lot of headache. I've got glue everywhere. A lot of headache when you're doing your weeding. And then, of course, you got those teeny tiny lines. They're going to come out. I just kind of use my finger for those so I don't mark up my vinyl. Just by bending it, usually they'll pop up. And you can grab them. So, weeding boxes, I know that they can be a pain and it takes longer to set up, but you can see you're not losing parts of your design when you do that and take that time. It's going to make it a whole lot easier for you to weed. Then when you're going to put your transfer tape on it, you're going to burnish it just a little bit. You don't have to burnish it hard. And then you're going to flip it over, and then you're going to peel this back away from your transfer tape. Makes it much, much easier. Hope that helped you out. If you have any more questions, please let me know.